Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Today, I'm supposed to be covering our good friend from Indivisible, Houston. We may play the interview that we did this morning, or we may not, depending on how the conversation goes here and there. But we'll also play a piece from Ayman Mohayedin with respect to the Speaker of the House. Anyhow, welcome aboard Bridge MCP. Welcome aboard AVQ, my brother, Mr. Rodnin. Welcome aboard as well, Eric Hayes. And let's see who else is in the house. We have a small, short makeup so far this morning or this afternoon. And Lee Grant. Lee Grant just established himself. I'm only here for a short while. Mondays are always busy. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate that you're here. Now, I had the story with the Kim Ogg is a local story. So I think I am going to have the links in the blog for it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to cover it yet because I have a soliloquy that I want to start on with regards to media, etc. And it covers all. Let's first go ahead and talk about this. How should I say? E2247, welcome aboard. As you guys know, I have my own blogs, egbertowillies.com, politicsandright.com. Also have our Medium, which is on Egberto, the Medium Egberto Willies, as well as my Substack, which is Egberto Off the Record. And these are the platforms. And I write all these books that I deliver through all these different platforms as well. Now, what I do additionally is in order for us to get our message out, welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. In order to get our message out, I cross-blog all the blogs that I write on various other platforms. You know, Daily Kos and what's the name of the other one? Daily Kos and Op-Ed and other rags where I place our stuff. And why do I do that? The mainstream media is not very good at giving the complete analysis, a complete story, etc. A good example is right now our district attorney Kim Ogg is under fire because she's a Democrat who has an affinity for prosecuting Democrats in town. In our county, she's a county, but she always loses. She doesn't win any of it. So it's a matter of getting notoriety, getting recognition from Republicans that see her coming against Democrats, and at the same time as well, what she does is create an angst. So a lot of precinct chairs in the Democratic Party decided to get together and put a resolution out to sanction her, to admonish her. And the reason why is to let her know that we Democrats in this town realizes what she's doing. Because like I said, the black guy she prosecuted for voter fraud, which wasn't voter fraud, was no billed. Two commissioner who she tries to go after, no billed. Judges and these are all Democrats, judges that she tried to go after, no billed. There are people that have been locked up because of waiting for. I mean, it's just a case to try to the things that she does sort of appeases the right, and we understand why. She was a Republican who turned Democrat when she couldn't win in the Republican Party because she is. I mean, it's amazing. I always find it amusing that the Republican Party has gay people when they have no affinity for gay people. And our district attorney is a gay woman and, trying to appease to these guys. Anyhow, she got an interview yesterday on Channel 11, one of our stations here. And the interview was such a placé interview, a warm interview, nothing about what's going on with the party, etc. And then she goes ahead and she sends out an email blast. Check out this interview. Because the interview touched on nothing that was happening. Nothing about the Democratic Party admonishing her, nothing about the issues that she prosecuted Lena Hidalgo or tried Lena Hidalgo's staff, etc. Or none of that was there. But that's what she used the mainstream media for. And that's what I find with the mainstream media. They are generally try to be a part of what they think is the establishment. So the only solution to that is to have independent media like we have here and other places, and all the other rags, all the other individual guys that you see have their programs out there to, to tell their story, etc. That's what we have to do, because the mainstream media is a part of the corporatocracy like anything else. Sometimes they do good work. Even when they do good work, sometimes you need independent media to reinterpret what they do. Interestingly, again, like I said, what I do, I try to blog every day about something important. Today we covered several subjects. One is the case that for being able to tax wealth. Another is a case of Kim Ogg, this one that we're talking about. Another one is a case of that the Speaker of the House is an autocrat. And another story is a story with Dana Bash and getting into a conflict with Pramila Jayapal, and how Pramila Jayapal did a good job in going back at her with regards to Israel and Gaza. Now, in placing my stories on different websites around the country, just like I place, and in fact, our Bruce Pollard is a person, we get a lot of people who want to promote their messages, who want to put out their articles on our website. So we post a lot of other people's product. If you go to journalists, you'll see a whole list of other journalists that post on egbertowillies.com. So we do that sort of we don't get paid for that or anything. We just are out there putting out this progressive message and allowing others to use our platform, as well as I use other people's platform to get my message out. Well, last night or yesterday, I put out a truthful story about what's going on in Israel. I want to get the title. Oops. I lost all the messages, guys. I'm sorry. I pushed the wrong button and I'm going to lose all the current messages in the chat. So the chat's my chat, not your chat, but my chat is going to start over. Dang. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm only going to see new messages. That's my fault. I'm sorry. All right. Anyhow, so if you have something I need to see that I haven't addressed, stick it back in there so that I can see it in my chat. All right. So I wrote an article at one of these sites, and the title that I gave that article was, and I want to make sure that I get it right. The title of that article was Netanyahu defies Biden. He boasted about controlling the U.S. and going against U.S. for ground invasion. All right. Now, that title came from a composite of many different articles, where, Netanyahu is always trying to buck America like he did to Obama. Obama pissed him off. So he came and along with Republicans, he came and spoke directly to the Congress and ignored the White House. Okay? Netanyahu does all these things. Netanyahu is an evil being and doesn't realize that we give him a lot of money. Well, he does realize it, but he understands that he thinks he controls us. And that's the reason why I put the title, Netanyahu defies Biden. He boasted about controlling the U.S. and against. And then here is what the admin of the site said the following. We are changing the article. It's been edited to reflect accurately original source reporting. And the original, I don't know what original source reporting they're talking about, because I wrote the article as the journalist having the body of knowledge that I have received from many other places. So I didn't really do a lot of sourcing in this article, but I know there are a lot of sources where I can corroborate this information. If you go to the New York Times or any of these other articles, there are some articles that they go ahead and they source perfectly with, here is a source for this, here's a source for that, this wasn't one of those articles that I wanted to go out and source. I could if I would. It was an article based on a video that I did, like most of my articles are. All right. And it is correct. Anybody can source that the validity of what I'm saying. So the admin made that correction. The original title of the story, actually, I can bring it on because it is on Daily Kos. All right. So this, let me see if the screen will work fine on this. So they go ahead and they put, and by the way, I know all these guys. I know all of these guys. We worked together before. I was a front page editor. I did everything here. But it shows you the power. It shows you the power of some messages. And not only that, but when we lose control of the independence of the media, when we lose control of being able to have different types of talking here. So they said, admin correction, the original title of the story, Netanyahu defies Biden. He boasted about controlling U.S. and going against U.S. ground invasion, has been edited to reflect accurately the original source reporting. Like I said, I provided no source reporting here. I was the journalist that wrote the article. If anybody wanted to fact check me, they could. Okay? So after doing that, they changed the title to Netanyahu Stances Clashes with Policy of Biden Administration. And by the way, this article was not written as a front page article. It was written as a community article, meaning I'm just submitting it to the community, right? That's what we do here. Just like other people submit articles, I don't check those people's articles. Let's say if I check it for, if they're a reputable source, I use them all the time, and I am a reputable source. Now, this article started to really take off. Okay? The article started to take off. As you can see, it has 159 recommends and 233 comments, and most of the comments were in favor of the article, agreeing with the article, because these are people in the know. Okay? Take a look at the article. But this is what really pissed me off. One, if you have your own site, you have the right to change the title and that kind of stuff. Now the wording, and as long as you mention it as well. But along with that wording, they said, okay, and you won't, we won't take any posts from you for a week. Now that pissed me off. And I tell you what, because I understand exactly what was occurring here. The article got traction. Now, when I went to some of the big shots at the place, they said, well, you didn't have, what is the word that they said that didn't combine with the sourcing, etc. So I went ahead and I went to the Israeli newspaper that had within the body of the newspaper, because they said the article, the thing is that he didn't boast about against you. He didn't boast about controlling the U.S. He didn't boast about not going ahead and invading Gaza. To which I said, he did boast about that. He told his Likud party, right? He said, Biden didn't want me to go into Gaza, and I did anyway. He said that. The transcripts are there. I have to go pick up the transcripts because I want to have this for my own records, because I'm going to, this one irks me, because this is where we have failed progressives. We have failed progressives in that we have allowed certain powerful sections of the progressive movement to control a message. And do you know why we cannot get progressive policies out there? Not because it's not because we can't, they're not correct. It's because our own progressive, many within our progressive media put balls and chains on us because, and I don't know this, but you have to wonder why certain types of speech gets toned down, gets hushed, while others are let by. This one is being hushed. And not only that, not being able to post on this for a place that have these are the guys who used to tell me, when the former editor of this rag, she would send me emails. Hey, send more posts. Send more posts. Your posts are good. Your posts get a lot of traction. She used to tell me that, right? But we are in some difficult times right now. And these difficult times have to do with, again, who we are talking about. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? We have the squad in Congress right now. Because they're asking for something that's humane, because they're asking for a ceasefire, because they're saying we want to see the killing stop. Even the Democratic Party in Texas has just written a declaration stating we want a ceasefire. What's occurring in Gaza right now is the indiscriminate killing. Even as I've told these folks, look, I have empathy for the Palestinians coming from a country that the United States bombed the smithereens out of to get one guy, Manuel Antonio Noriega, and killed thousands of Panamanians to do it. I can feel the pain of what these criminals are doing in Gaza. Yes, Hamas is a terrorist, terrible organization. But the numbers show that the IDF is orders of magnitude more vicious, violent, and inhumane. The numbers speak for themselves. The numbers speak for themselves. So I tell you what, while they have this block on my on me posting because of the types of stuff that I post. Luckily, like I said, like I told one of the higher ups there, one of the reasons I make sure to keep our own platform, and I call it our platform, the Passis platform, our website, egbertowillies.com, politicsdoneright.com, Egberto Off the Record newsletter, our podcast at Egberto Off the Run on Spotify, and all these different platforms. The reason why those are our platforms is that nobody except maybe YouTube, if they decide to give us a strike or something, nobody can handle take us off of that email. Nobody can take us off of that website. Nobody can do these things. But the reason I am so perturbed about this particular issue is when they tell you that what you're saying isn't true. I replied to them. Let me go ahead and I want to tell you what I replied to these guys, because this is important. And by the way, like I said, this is a symbiotic relationship. Okay. In other words, just like I post at many other websites, to get our message out. Others post at my site to get their message out. It's a symbiotic relationship. But some sites, of course, are funded different than ours. Our sites funded by you. People go onto our sites. If they like what they read, every so often they'll drop $1 or $2 or $2, $10, $5, like you guys see here. Every now and then, we have a small number of patrons. We have a small number of PayPal subscribers. We have a small number of our subscribers to Egberto on the Run, etc. Right? But what we don't have is these mega donors. What I don't want are these mega donors where something like this has to occur. I know these people that I'm talking to, and I understand why it's done. I could read between the lines. I could read between the lines and understand what was being done. I'm pulling up the email that I sent to the editor, right, for what they did, and I want to send emails. I think I have it here. I want, because, and I'm relaying this story, folks, because when you are out there and you don't see a lot of when a lot of news is missing, and people say, well, I didn't know that. And they say, well, I read this progressive site or that progressive site all of the time, and I didn't get that. The idea is, if you go ahead and I print this message here, this story here, and you tag it, notice admin correction. Like I'll read what I told him before, but that's that is an attempt to, one, bust your credibility, and number two, to force you to change the tonality of your message. In other words, being right is not enough. Being correct is not enough. And it looks like I am getting to the article that I sent them right this minute. I'm going to read it because I want to read to you. Let's see. Come on, Egberto. Hurry, bring it up. Bring it up. Here we go. Thank you. I said, and I want to get it bigger so I can read it without mistake. This is what I wrote to them. I said, as I write this, I want to express my level of disappointment and anger for the level of disrespect and unfairness dealt me today. I was a front pager. I am a paid, hear me, a paid subscriber. You know, even though I was a contributing editor and all of that, I was always a paid subscriber as well. A contributing editor, a loyal promoter. You guys hear me promote Daily Coast every day. I talk about we have to post, we have to support all these different channels. I preach that. I believe that we have to support progressive rags. So I said, I was a front pager, a contributing editor, a loyal promoter, a yearly Netroots attendee reporting the convention in good light, and much more. I'm a respected journalist with a national radio show, blogger, and author of 5 books who has always been known for truth, not spin, but truth. Sometimes it is not kind or what we want to hear, but I can always justify what I write. The few times that I have gotten it wrong, I am never too prideful to admit it and publicly correct and atone. This one bites because of the level of censorship and direct punitiveness. Then I said, the title of my article was Netanyahu Defies Biden. He boasted about controlling U.S. and going against U.S. for ground invasion. You changed it to Netanyahu stances clashes with policy of the Biden administration. If that was not sufficiently disrespectful, it came with a 7-day posting that I couldn't post at the site because of that. Uh, what was the reason from the admin? The admin said the story has been edited to reflect accurately the original source reporting. But that's a lie. There's no original source reporting that I pointed to that you could use to correct that title. There was no sourcing that I gave you to correct that title in the document. Now, in the video, I spoke about having read Common Dreams and other places. Okay. Now, I said, I do not know what source reporting is being noted here. As a journalist, I use the accumulation of various articles, news reports, videos, etc., and my title accurately reflects my video and what Netanyahu has been doing. This one article from the Times of Israel validates my title. I gave them a link. And this is the link. It said, Prime Minister Benjamin and this is what the Times said. Yes, exactly. They effed me. You're correct, Bridge. I said, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reportedly met with at least 10 backbenchers in his Likud party over the past week in an effort to ensure their continued support as the ruling party drops further and further in the polls since the war. I am the only one who will prevent a Palestinian state in Gaza and West Bank after the war. The Cannes public broadcaster quotes Netanyahu as having told the lawmakers. Okay. Broadcasting source in Israel pointed out what the man said, what Netanyahu said to the Likud party. I am the only one who can. All right. Now, continuing, the stance clashes directly with the policy of the Biden administration, which has sought to revive talk of a two-state solution in order to maintain the support of the Arab world as he continues to offer full throttle backing of Israel. All right. Netanyahu reportedly also told the Likud lawmakers that the Biden administration did not want Israel to launch a ground incursion in Gaza and did not want the IDF to enter Gaza City's Shifa Hospital, where a Hamas command center is located underneath. Netanyahu reportedly boasted, not my words, their words, Netanyahu reportedly boasted about having gone against the U.S. wishes in both those cases. Now, if you have an Israeli newspaper, a good newspaper, well-funded, they follow journalistic standards. So therefore, I used them, in their word, they were not the only source that said that. I found other places as well. Now, but I use this, I read this paper. That is like telling, what they're trying to tell me is if I quote something from the New York Times, right? They want me to go to second, third, fourth, and fifth sources, however the New York Times came up with the article, when the New York Times has already been rated reputable, right? Double standard. Okay? So I pointed out where this article used the word boasted. This article says he went against the President Biden, not wanting him to go into Gaza, and also that he said he needs to be kept in power to stay in power in order to not have a second state. That reflects perfectly with the article, Netanyahu defies Biden. He boasted about controlling the U.S. How does he control the U.S.? The U.S. wants a two-state solution. How is he going to avoid that? I am going to control him by staying in power. If you keep me in power, I take control of not allowing what he wants. It's clear. It's clear. Continuing. So I continue with the article. I said, I can find scores of articles that illustrates Netanyahu's constant defiance of our presidents and notice I use plural, our presidents and country. He defied both Biden and Netanyahu. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Breach. All right. I do not just report from one article, but from many sources, including independent journalists and establishment journalists and papers nationally and internationally. I promote Daily Kos on all of my platforms as a place to get free-flowing information. I respectfully ask you to, 1, restore all of my posting privileges immediately. 2, return to my original title. 3, alert in the note to the community that it was done in error. The admin has harmed my credibility with the note that is wrong that would have my future postings questions. I trust that you will do the right thing. They have not decided to do the right thing yet. That's why I decided to just come and tell the story for all to hear. Because now I will continue to do my go to the conventions and all that kind of stuff. But as for being able to claim it's a place where I can know you are getting the unadulterated information from whatever's out there, I don't look. Let me be clear here. I don't mind if they had done this and, some one of the editors go ahead and do this. That's fine. But then when I complain and say that shouldn't have been done, you've made a mistake, here is some corroborating information, just go change it. And this was all done behind the scenes. Just go change it. Just go change it. Put it back to where it was. Let's just start at ground zero with the article. That's all. Let's start at ground zero with the article. But no. Look, in this case, I am absolutely, without doubt, and guys, I don't mind accepting when I'm wrong. You guys have proven me wrong on issue before, and I come out, I apologize, I atone, I make the correction. In fact, I made a mistake a few years ago where I had to go into one video after another video because I had to dub the correct stuff in the video. That's how meticulous I am when it comes to making sure that I don't mislead those people who have given me the honor of their follow, the honor of coming here every day to listen to what I have to say. That's how much respect I have for all of you. So you can figure out understandably why this simply pissed me off. Especially from a rag that I was so always promoting and making sure to go ahead, and going ahead and giving you stuff. So I've gone too far with my critique here. So what I need to do is go ahead and play the video on yesterday that I did for you guys from Ayman Mohyeddin. And let's go ahead and play that about the Speaker of the House. And then we'll come right back and then I'll read your stuff. There we go. Turns out Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is nothing but a autocratic, a theocrat. And watch what Ayman Mohyeddin and his two guests had to say about him, because I think, unlike many other programs, they really go into detail as far as what it means having an autocrat like Mike Johnson leading the House, and what would it mean back in or next up in 2024. Check this out.
The hate and extremism within the GOP isn't just coming from Donald Trump. It is coming from other party leaders, including the newly minted House Speaker, Mike Johnson. New reporting from CNN reveals that Johnson wrote the foreword for a 2022 book by a Louisiana blogger that endorses the far-right Pizzagate conspiracy and contains homophobic slurs towards Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Johnson said of the book, quote, "I obviously believe in the product or I wouldn't have written the foreword, so I endorsed the work." Now, this comes after a stunning and terrifying report from the outlet last week, which unearthed a series of interviews highlighting Johnson's extremist views. Take, for example, last year, just a month before Roe versus Wade fell, Johnson compared abortion access to a, quote, American Holocaust. Here's Johnson in his own words.
It is truly an American Holocaust. I mean, the reality is that Planned Parenthood and all these big abortion, they set up their clinics in inner cities. They regard these people as easy prey.
And after Roe fell, Mike Johnson defended Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's suggestion that rulings on same-sex marriage and contraception should be reconsidered, saying some laws should be, quote, cleaned up.
There's been some really bad law made. They've made a mess of our jurisprudence in this country for the last, several decades. And maybe some of that needs to be cleaned up. And what Justice Thomas is calling for is not radical. In fact, it's the opposite of that. We finally have a majority of originalists on the court.
It appears that these beliefs, which he has professed to hold now for decades, were sharpened during Johnson's decade-long association with Alliance Defending Freedom, a faith-based organization that litigates in favor of laws and policies that undermine LGBTQ rights. Let's bring back Fernand Amande and Paulo Ramos. Fernand, I'll start with you here. What does it say that someone with this track record, proudly owning this track record, one of the most powerful political figures in our country, is the Speaker of the House?
Well, Eamon, it's very similar to what we just talked about in regards to Donald Trump. We cannot sugarcoat the reality of what and who Mike Johnson is. Behind the editor's oakley-dokley countenance, you have someone who is third in line to the presidency today, who is a theocrat, who does not believe in American democracy, has made that very clear, as we saw or are about to read in even greater detail in the revelations to come from Lynn Cheney's book. The open, transparent architect of the effort to overthrow American democracy in service of Donald Trump without any respect for the laws. I think it looks like what it is, a theocratic, again, fascist who unfortunately holds the most powerful position in the history of the United States for someone who doesn't believe in the tenets that underpin the constitutional republic.
I think you're totally right on that word, theocratic. I don't think that word is used enough to describe some of the American politicians that we see now leading the country and making these decisions based purely on their religious interpretation that affect all of us. Paula, I want to talk to you about Johnson's ties to this theocracy, if you will, that he envisions America to be, this religious extremist on the right. In addition to the ADF, Johnson, according to Semaphore, is also friends with Pastor Tony Perkins, who leads the Family Research Council, an organization that has been labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. How concerning is it to see the House Speaker have ties to these extremist groups?
How concerning is it? It's concerning because in that America, someone like me, a gay woman, doesn't exist, doesn't have rights, right? In Mike Johnson's America, I am considered someone that is unnatural, dangerous, evil, is someone that is less worthy of him, someone that doesn't deserve the same rights that he has. And so it is that I don't belong in that America. So even within that, right, even understanding the extremist beliefs that he holds about people like me, about people like you, Eamon, about women, even within that, the most concerning thing is truly understanding his beliefs around what it means to govern and understanding that someone like him on our screen believes in Christian nationalism. Right. So he fundamentally doesn't believe in the separation between church and state. Right. He believes that everything among us should be infused with God. And the problem and the danger is that he is not operating in a vacuum. Right. He is operating in a country where over 50% of Republicans in this country believe in some version of Christian nationalism. Right. He is operating among members of Congress like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are openly calling for Christian nationalism. He's operating with a potential 2024 Republican candidate that wants to see someone like him govern and that is considered a savior for Christian nationalism. So that is a danger that perhaps, again, in less than a year, we may have this Christian nationalist as a Speaker of the House and an authoritarian figure in the White House. And what does that future tell us? And where do the three of us fit in that future?
I tell you what really concerns me about Mike Johnson. When it's time to count up the votes, whether he tries some sort of machination in the House at the time that the votes are to be counted in 2024, or actually it will be in 2025, right? On January 6, 2025. So we have an autocrat in power. Will he remain in power? One hopes not. We'll see. We'll see if we get a new Congress. We'll see if people come out to vote. We're going to have a lot of work to do because having behind the scene little Trump in office and the possibility of having Master Trump in the White House is not something I think anybody is looking forward to.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutamente. Please join us. Please support the program however you can. As you can see, with all the kind of censorship and all of that goes on, we're going to need your support now more than ever. Another way, please go ahead, consider subscribing to our newsletter because now that I'm seeing that I'm probably going to have to use other avenues to promote my additional sources to promote my stuff. I use about 10 or 12 now. I'm probably not going to. I'm going to have to rethink whether I'm going to keep posting there or not. Not that it's a big loss to them, especially if they're changing their modal to nice little crazy things that nobody, so I don't know. I have to think twice about whether I'm going to continue posting there or not. I really got, I have to make sure that whatever I do has less to do with my stubbornness and more to do with what's right for the progressive movement. So bottom line is, I don't know. More than likely, I'll still go ahead and post because, again, it's about the movement and not about me. I'm pissed. Yes, I'm pissed, but it's about the movement. It's about the movement. As long as, remember what I tell you guys, how are you able to love everybody? You find, first of all, if you notice, I make sure everybody's my brother and my sister. I cannot hate on my brothers and my sisters. So if I recognize that everybody's my brother and my sister, it gives me the ability to love everybody irrespective. When it comes to the movement, I think I'm willing to take a whole lot of SHIT for the movement because it's not about one person. It's about the movement. And even if I can't use the full piece of a thing, some of a thing, it's better than nothing. So I'll probably end up doing the right thing because, again, it's about the movement. All right, let's see. Bridge to Mike Rudden. Yes, it has never happened to me before. Meaning none of my stuff has ever been taken down before. None. Nothing. Nada. Niet. That's why I think this one hit so hard. Or actually, I shouldn't say taken down. I should say have been modified with some sort of a comment telling the audience, oh, that wasn't an accurate something. I think that is the thing that pissed me off the most. All right. A limerick from brother Tom Zardik. Anytime Tom put one of these guys out, I'm in the game. So here we go. Democrats want the U.S. to be a democracy. most Republicans prefer some kind of autocracy, plutocracy, kleptocracy, or oligarchy, corporatocracy, theocracy, or anarchy. Above all, the GOP in 2024 wants a Trumptocracy. Love it, brother. Love it as usual. Love it. Love it. And again, I repeat, love it. All right, Lee Grant says, what kind of Christianity can I practice that will satisfy the requirements of the left? The Jesus-type Christianity. Jesus was a socialist. Let me just put it that way. Jesus believed in giving to the least of us. Jesus believed in loving the best of us. Jesus looked at them who were throwing the stones. Ye who has never sinned, cast stone. So no. The problem is that the right look nothing. Evangelical Christianity looks nothing like what Jesus preached. I went into the Maranatha Christian Center, and that is what Jesus looked like. What we did. We looked at the least among us, and we said, how can we help? We taught. We provided. That is what Jesus said. We turned 2 loaves of bread in to feed everybody. We didn't say capitalism. Capitalism is anathema. Or rather, capitalism is antithetical to Christianity. I repeat, capitalism is antithetical to Christianity. What am I? I believe in free enterprise. That is Christianity. My free will tells me I help everyone. If I have the ability and the wherewithal to help people, that is what I do, Brother Lee Grant. Unfortunately, what we have the right fighting for is don't tax my wealth, a wealth that you didn't even earn. Don't give those kids food stamps, even as they're not responsible for what they did. Good afternoon, my dear brother Ray. Talk to me.
Capitalism is
Oh, I just wanted to make sure before I start, did you finish your point on evangelicalism?
No, it's okay. But I mean, I get most of the point, but I want to hear your voice. It's more important for what you have to say, sir.
Yeah, I'm not a theologist or anything, but correct me if I'm wrong, if there's not a scripture that says that, and I'm a paraphrase it, it's more likely for it's more likely for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to get into heaven.
That's exactly that. Right out of the Bible. You're absolutely right. That's right out of the Bible. And it's easy to understand why. Because most people, well, not most people, everybody who's absolutely rich, which means they've made more than their works are worth. I repeat, they make more than their works are worth. That means that they had to do it on somebody else's back. It's not an easy thing to say. How do you say that Beyonce's billions are not worthy? How do you say that? And in the way that we think, it is like, who the hell are you to say that Oprah Winfrey's billion she didn't earn? Who am I to say that? But if you go through the machinations of how she earned it, of how Beyonce has earned her income, right? And based on all those who worked for her, they didn't. When you look at what makes her the millions, all the machinations and the beautiful choreography and the lighting and the elevators, the amount of humanity that went into producing all those things that got paid once. And she continues to make on that. Is she doing anything wrong? No, she's not. It's how our economic system works. And how do you mitigate that within our economic system? You mitigate that by having progressive taxes. As you make a hell of a lot more, you take a hell of a lot more out of their pockets. because that is what makes the system go around. And the thing about it is we have been so indoctrinated into what we've learned, Ray, that we don't get it. But continue, my brother. But you're right with your statement.
Yeah, I mean, but you hit the nail on the head. I basically am just piggybacking off what you said. A lot of evangelicals idolize Jesus, the idol, but they don't truly idolize Jesus, the man, Jesus, ideology.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy how, they find a way to make Jesus, the poster boy for the prosperity gospel, I call it.
Yeah, it's evil.
And basically saying,
yeah,
you can do evil things and you'll be forgiven by Jesus. So you can keep on doing evil things. And I mean, I understand for the common man, we all fall short of that glory that they say we have. But for rich people, it seems like they can just, throw money at their problem and they're resolved of all of their sins. And I don't believe that.
No, it's not so. You're right. You're right about that. But let me tell you what, okay? Let me tell you what I have. And by the way, here, Brother Rudnan has a good put that he put for the screen that says, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Jesus. It's simple. Well, buy a bigger needle. It's a funny joke, but we get the point, right? In other words, the rich guys are saying, let's buy a bigger needle. Okay. But anyway, you're absolutely right. Egberto, fourth time, please read and post my image. Okay. Bridge, I mean, I was all taken up with my little piece here why I didn't have your image in there. Forgive me, girl. Forgive me. She said, this is not a Christian nation. It's a nation in which you are free to be Christian. I love that. And by the way, somebody gave me that last week and I did post that. But here we go. Egberto, fourth time. On June 14, Eisenhower signed a law adding under God to the Pledge of Allegiance. 2 years later, Eisenhower also made "In God We Trust" the United States official motto. It did not appear on paper currency or stamp before 1950s. The push to add "under God" to the pledge gained momentum during the Second Red Scare, a period when U.S. politicians were keen to assert the moral superiority of U.S. capitalism over Soviet communism, which many conservatives regarded as godless. Freedom of religion is protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which prohibits laws establishing a national religion or impeding the free exercise of religion for its citizens, also free of them of speech and the press. While the First Amendment enforces the separation of church and state, it does not exclude religion from public life. And likewise, I have to say, Mike, Tom, we did have a very informative Ask Egberto Anything this weekend. Ray, you should come to it sometime if you have a weekend that you have a little slack time at 11 in the morning in Central Time. But we had a good one. We had, everybody talking. It was fun. And thank you all of you who showed up to Ask Egberto. How do you get there?
How do I get in again?
I will send you an email. But right now we have Alistair on the line, so we'll talk later, brother.
Okay, go ahead, Alistair. I'll be listening.
All right. Yeah, let's see. All right. Alistair. Whoops. Alistair. Hey, Alistair, call back. I accidentally took you to voicemail. I don't know how to use this thing. Alistair, call back real quick. We want to hear from you, Alistair. Alistair, call back real quick. All right. Did I miss anything, Bridge? Is there anything that I need to touch on? Stick it in the bottom of the chat before we go. Not bashing at all, Eric. I always say which God. Exactly. There we go. There's our beautiful lady. Alistair, talk to me.
Hey. It sent me the voicemail. I'm like, okay, I don't know if he's wrapping up. Okay. Simple truth with being a practicing Christian and being a good human, they go hand in hand.
Yes.
If you're lost and you don't know what to do, you just ask, what would Jesus do?
Amen. I agree.
And if you don't know, you fight. If you don't know what Jesus would do, then you find someone that does.
Yeah.
Jesus, God is love. God is love above all things.
Hey, let me tell you something, sister. Oh, I'm sorry.
The greatest of these is love. That's
Okay.
yeah, those are the words of Jesus. The greatest of these is love.
My dear, beautiful Alistair Waters, let me tell you, I am a humanist now, right? But I grew up a Christian.
Right.
But let me tell you, I grew up a Christian, so I have all those values that we learned in Christianity. And the one thing that I know is that what the evangelicals are doing today is not the Christianity we knew. It's not what we knew. It's not that stuff about holding up your brother and not. I mean, that's not what it is now. But you know what, Alistair? Thank you for those words, because maybe it'll give some context. Thank you, sis. You have a good one, okay?
I hope so. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Anyway, folks, let me just tell you, please support the program. We need subscribers. I'll just say that I would like to get by the end of the year 100 subscribers for my newsletter. Okay. We are currently at 58. I would like to get 100 by the end of the year and 500 by the end of next year. Subscriber, it's a coffee a month. It will really start to allow us to do quite a few things that we just can't do. So how can you do that? Please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and sign up for a paid version of the newsletter. It is a coffee a month. It's a coffee a month. I'd like to move from that number up to 100 subscribers to our newsletter. We're kind of stuck at 58 for a while. You know, that's people coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. So whoever has the wherewithal, if you're listening to the podcast, we do good work. Bridge MCP, thank you for your super chat. She says, basic instructions before Bible. Basic instruction before leave. I had never heard that, Bridge. That's a good one. Bible stands for basic instruction before leaving Earth. That is funny. That is funny. Thank you for the super chat, my dear, beautiful Bridge. But folks, please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and becoming a paid subscriber. You'll get to read all my books, my current books for free, and all my subsequent books and other books that I write for free as well on the Substack app or the Substack page, all of that. So please support the program however best you can. Alistair Water, thank you for your super chat as well, my sister. I had to break in because it just came up as soon as I started the music. So let's go ahead and do that again. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.